Welcome to SIP, South Indian Perspective. My name is Maran. I'm going to give you 8 reasons why India supports Russia. Okay, number one, 75 to 81% of Indian defense forces are directly or indirectly dependent on Russian weapon supplies. It could be army, navy, air force, all has major share of its weaponry either directly or indirectly have Russian origin. So this doesn't allow India to make Russia its foe. Number two, during Indo-Pak War, Russia stood with India, not just with one war, many wars that we fought with Pakistan. Russia always stood with India as a time-tested ally. And there are instances where even United States and China, of course, stood with Pakistan. Russia never ever stood with Pakistan, it always stood with India. Third, during the Indo-China War, for your surprise, Russia stood with India and it favored Indian armed forces and even threatened China to cut supplies of weapons. Even China at that point of time had great dependency on Russian weaponry. This is one of the key reason why the Indo-China War came to an end. China stood with us like a brother. Number four, India runs a lot of defense researches jointly with Russia. So starting from BrahMos with a supersonic cruise missile and many even aeronautical researches and defense rockets and cruise researches are happening with Russia as a giant venture. So this involves sharing of technology which is badly needed for India, and moreover India has also invested huge amount of time and money in these ventures. So this cannot be compromised. Number 5. US, NATO and all the world opposed any country giving nuclear submarines and nuclear aircraft carriers to India or any other world country for that matter. And Russia was the only country which defied all the world rules and gave India nuclear submarine and nuclear aircraft carrier, which makes India a truly blue water navy. That means around the globe, anywhere Indian carriers can go and do an airstrike. That capacity was given to India by Russia. Point number 6. After India did its nuclear test, sanctions were levied by European Unions or many countries in Europe, which is part of NATO and America, and many friendly forces, which was considered friendly forces, had sanctioned India from all major technological imports and even anything that is far related to defense or aeronautical related products were completely banned. And even we had shortage of cryogenic engine. So India is a leader in launching satellites because we have trustworthy launch vehicles, and these vehicles were deprived of liquid fuels as well as cryogenic engine. And Russia was the country which came forward in supplying this cryogenic engine, and even Indian scientists were able to successfully reverse reverse it back and make our own, which Russia doesn't bother to question us. And the seventh reason, being Rakesh Sharma. Many would have known he's the only Indian astronaut who traveled outer space, spoke with then the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi from space. So Russia was happy in taking Indians to the space and is able to do joint venture with India. Even after this Indo-Ukraine war, when Russia was cancelling many deals with the international space agencies and space agreements, India is one of the few countries whose agreement was still upheld and was not cancelled. An Indian flag was still in the US or the Russia's rocket. And last not the least, Russia has vetoed its power many times in the UN when any resolution was passed against India. Being a only veto and a ally of India, a time-tested ally, anything that is brought against India in the UN, Russia has always vetoed out and protected us. So, a time of all misfortunes, at a time of all international scenarios that goes against India, Russia always stood by us. It's not that just need that drives us to be with Russia. Historical trust and historical love with Russia makes any prime minister who comes in India to go in line with Russia as a time tested long friend. Thank you. Vanakkam.